Hello. I'm going to introduce you to my little friend. This is my pregnancy pillow. I did not intend for this to be a tech review channel, but you like the tech reviews, so I'll give you the tech that I've got. I don't have the extra funds to buy loads of tech. It's wasteful. I just, you know me by now, I go with something and I roll with it, and I'm either happy with it or I'm not. If I'm really not happy, I will move on, but generally I think I have enough loyalty to just be like content. I go, you know what, this is doing what I thought it would do, and that works with my life. Fantastic, happy days. But in the interest of something that I've put quite a lot of effort into that is too expensive, I mean, it's not tech. I guess you could call it tech in the very wide sense of the term, it being a technological advancement. If you're pregnant, you may have come across some advice about pregnancy pillows. I'm pregnant, I have advice, I have a pregnancy pillow. So who better to help you on your journey than Schmucky over here who made the investment? Nobody. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the purchase I made, why I did it, and my thoughts. Let's start off this sorry tale. I was in the market for a pregnancy pillow. I've got pillows, but it just seemed like a nice idea. I always pictured that I'd have one of those ones that kind of U-shapes around you. But then I started going down the rabbit hole of, it's just got a polyester filling. And I like me some natural fibres, or at least some eco-friendly stuff. So I made the mistake of Googling the best pregnancy pillow. It came up with quite a lot of options. There's a lot of different things that you can do to make yourself comfortable in pregnancy, including just buy a few pillows and, I don't know, put them in a big pillowcase and just roll with it. The one that was colloquially hailed, if that's the right term, as the one to get was the bbhugme pregnancy pillow. And I say pregnancy pillow because bbhugme do a nursing pillow, which is the same thing but a lot smaller. So you go, oh, fantastic, what a deal. Watch out if you do decide to go for it, because it could be the nursing pillow. I'll tell you what put me off right from the get-go. This baby is 180 quid RRP. That's a lot of money. Why is it so expensive? It's Norwegian design. Now that, you don't know this about me yet, but I am a sucker for Scandinavian. I think quite a lot of people are, but I feel like I have the right to be more. I've been established in this sphere for a long time, long before Hygge and all that sort of stuff. I have watched every single Scandi crime drama on BBC iPlayer. And that, over the last few decades, has been quite a lot. The Killing, watched it. Burn the Bridge, watched it. What other ones are there? Jord Scott, which isn't, kind of is, because it's a bit supernatural. It's a really good one. Watched it. Demsov Mordor, Those Who Kill, which is a really, I don't like the name of it, but is good. Watched it. Anyway, that was a more recent one. If it is there on iPlayer, I've probably watched it. If it's a political one, I'm not as keen. I've been a fan of the genre for a very long time. And things like having a high HDI, Human Development Index, happiness, equality, the fact that I've got some distant family, apparently loads of people have, but I'm proud of it. Anyway, all of these things together just make me go, yeah, I'm a bit of a Scandi fan. We went there. I thought I would be more connected with Norway, but actually, as it turns out, Sweden is my number one. We're going to move on from this. Point is, big fan of the Scandi. Anything that's got a little bit of a, hey, this was developed in Norway, just makes me just perk up like a meerkat. Go, well, I mean, culturally, I very much like Norway, so I probably will like the pregnancy pillow. So that was one thing. People recommending it is another thing, because almost everybody on that thread said it is an investment. But you know what? It's so worth it. We'll get on to that. One of the other things that kind of got me was the fact that they said it had been developed with chiropractors. And I did not fact check this. I just went, that's a good idea. And carried on with my life. And the other thing that really got me was the materials that they used. So this outer layer is made of 95% cotton and 5% elastane, which is better than, to my mind, 100% polyester, which with the level of stretchiness that it's got, I think is quite cool. I also quite like the branding. I don't like the name. It doesn't say what I understand of the brand. So, like Norwegian chiropractor stuff, fancy, premium. That bbhugme doesn't necessarily say that to me. It's a little bit too random. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe it's supposed to be like, baby, hug me. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I feel like they should go with a different brand. I don't normally say that. Yeah, I don't normally say that. So maybe they should, because they will definitely be watching this review, maybe they should take heed of me as a consumer and my views. Then the innards. Now, I'm going to talk about the innards later, because I think you need to have all the facts that I have. They're supposed to be eco-friendly pearls. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but I thought they were like little beads or something inside. Maybe, don't know what I thought, but I thought it was like little balls of something inside that were eco-friendly, which could well be greenwashing. All right, I'm perfectly aware of that. I wanted it. They succeeded on the marketing. Okay, congratulations. However, I did not pay RRP for this baby. I paid, I want to say 70 quid all in. And that is not because I got some amazing discount. It's because I took a gamble and bought it secondhand on Vinted from a seller that had good reviews, and I felt had clean pictures and stuff. That's the only thing you can really go off. When they put pictures up of the pillow, the general room looked quite clean. I didn't want to pay full price for it because I didn't know that I necessarily wanted it. Until you try it out, how do you know? And then at that point, hygienically, I don't know whether you can return it. It just feels a little bit weird to return it. You can't wash the whole thing. You can wash the cover, but it's a product that's quite up close and personal. You have it between your legs. It's not like memory foam, but you can massage the general shape of it so that it is comfortable and it keeps your knees at a good distance apart. What's the best way to explain this? If you have your legs crossed together, then you're not opening your pelvis, which during pregnancy, you want to open your pelvis. So you're giving your body as much room as possible to push that eventual watermelon out. I wasn't thrilled about getting it secondhand, but I just wasn't prepared to pay 180 quid for something. Or I think you could get it for 135 on discount. And you also get all the options of the covers. So this would not be my first option for a colour. But it's fine, it does the job. When it eventually came, I was quite lucky. I maybe smelt for somebody else a little bit, but it wasn't disgusting. It was in the condition that they listed it as, which I would expect because you've got some protection on Vinted. And I ended up paying 70 quid for 180 quid RRP pillow, which sounds like a fantastic deal, but also still paid 70 quid for a pillow, which is just not something I want to brag about because it's not. It's such a first world, like, oh my God, well, I paid 70 quid for my pillow. I don't know how I feel about it because there's a gap in the market and consumers feel that, as in like we're prepared to pay that money for a pillow that, you know, it helps. We'll get onto that in a minute. But we want it. It fills the gap. We're relatively happy. People are going, yeah, get this pillow. That's just how capitalism works, isn't it? So I don't know how I feel about it. I am very lucky because I've got some disposable income to make these purchases. And it feels like pregnancy comfort should not be limited in this way to people who've got a bit of disposable income, because it's really freaking miserable when you're uncomfortable. You know what? We're just going to jump right into the pros and cons of it. I was uncomfortable when I purchased this. So I purchased it, I think it was just after my first scan. When we saw the baby was okay, I was like, you know what? Fine, just give me the pillow. I knew that I wanted it. And I was so excited for it. I was like, oh my God. It isn't as long as I thought it was. But in the pictures for marketing, it also doesn't pretend like it goes up to your whole body. So the way that it works is you've got an inner pillow and then you've got this outer thing that's both an outer like clean layer, though I still would like to be able to wash more of it just for hygiene purposes. It's like with a mattress. We have one of those waterproof covers. It's an extra mattress protector. It's like that. I'd rather have something like that because it is quite up close and personal, and I do not believe for a second that my sweat and the sweat of the person before me has not soaked into the second layer of this pillow. I'm not that naive, which means it's also on the little pearls inside, which with 48 hours, I'm jumping around a lot. What I mean is, you know, when coronavirus was more of a thing and you had deliveries and the virus could probably survive for 48 hours. So I'm thinking germ-wise and gross bacterial-wise, because this sat in the post office for a couple of days, we didn't collect it immediately. I'm not saying it's sterile, but the bugs will probably be lessened. I don't know. It's been a long time since I did some virology. It was a long time ago. A long, long time ago. I can still remember bits of virology, but not the detail on the bugs. I think practically speaking, it should be more washable. By any stretch, you cannot put the innards in the wash. Was I happy when I got it? Yeah. I don't know whether I would have been just as happy with something else. I think psychologically, because I didn't get the thing that I wanted the most, I would have probably been a bit disappointed with whatever other thing I got regardless, because I wouldn't have compared them and gone, oh yeah, this is the one for me. I haven't been as uncomfortable since I've had it, but I haven't used it all the time. So for example, sometimes I go to sleep with my leg's in the correct position, but then I wake up the multiple times throughout the night to go to pee, and then I just kind of roll over and use the duvet or a different pillow in a different way. So I'm not using exclusively this for my comfort. However, I'm on the sofa now and I'm leaning on it and it's pretty darn comfy. I can't pretend like I'm not enjoying this as a seating position. I'm just slouching. I'm getting lower and lower in my seat, which is probably not fantastic for camera angles, but it's fine because I'm pregnant. You have to just let me do what is comfortable for me. I'm not sure it is the wondrous contraption that people say it is, which is sad. Is it sad? No, I think you want the truth. I'm glad I've got it. I haven't sold it on. I wouldn't return it. It's a nice pillow. But is it worth 70 quid? So we're going to go on to the bits that annoy me about it. Aside from the fact that I think the inner should also have some form. I mean, you then get into the territory of either a waterproof cover or, you know, extra bits. I wouldn't be mad about that. That sort of thing doesn't bug me. I just think for hygiene purposes, it's a lot more convenient. The thing that knocks me maybe second most, because we'll get on to the most important thing afterwards, are these bits at the end. I can't remember. I think they're called pebbles. And they seem like a great idea in principle, in that the point of them is that you can adjust how, I want to say tense, but it's not the right word, how firm this pillow is. The very inner bit is the inner bag that's got all the beads in, and then the outer bit is like a sleeve. So what you can do is effectively make the sleeve tighter, which will then compress the inner bit, which will make it firmer. Now, I've not really done this yet. Maybe I'm not giving you enough experience to be able to gauge it. There's only so much you can compress something that's in its own container. You see what I mean? I think it will actually work fine, and I can compress this more than I am currently. I'm just being lazy about it, which makes me think that if I set this up perfectly, you know, like, it's perfectly comfy as it is. The longer that you go through pregnancy, the firmer you like it. So there is that. I've got a little bit of room to manoeuvre. That aside, these are really annoying. Picture it. You're in bed, you're snuggling it. I like to have this near my face. It doesn't go down my whole body insofar as I would like it. So if I were to snuggle it from here, that, if I was actually doing it the right way, I can move it out of the way. But that is quite annoying. It's near my face. It gets in the way. It's hard and uncomfortable. And it's by my face or by my head if I did have my head there. But obviously if it's up there, it wouldn't really get me as much. But generally, I find that hitting me in the chin. And I do try to move it out of the way, but it's something to consciously think about for a start. And then around my ankles as well, it just gets a bit annoying. So having something that's lovely and soft is great, but then when you've got these massive silicone things in places you don't really want to be thinking about, you know, like around my face, it's just inconvenient. And I wonder whether just tying a single knot in this material would do the same job. We're going to get on to reverse engineering the components in a second, because I think it's something that you need to be aware of. But if you were to buy these new, if you'd lost them or wanted a different colour, I think they're about 35 quid. I need to fact check myself here. But I wouldn't buy them because they're just annoying. And I just, you've got so much material here. I think you can tie the knot and then it do just as good a job, because these are already slipping. I can see that they've got a fair design on them, but I don't think the irritation of having them there is worth it. I would rather not have them. And I say that, I've not actually taken them off because I'm quite lazy. Make of that what you will. I don't think these are helping me in a way that couldn't be done with the material already there. Why do I keep on about reverse engineering? I have been super careful thus far to avoid using the term beanbag, and that is because I want to do a massive rant on why this is essentially a beanbag. I'm going to let that percolate for a second. Before I purchased this puppy, I tried to see whether there was any information on whether I could make it. Because you think about the innards, you think about the outers, and you go, well, what are these beads? And it was only when, in my Vinted search thing, because I kept looking at new ones just in case, I was like, oh, maybe I could buy a second, when the first one was on that. And also a little bit of torturing myself, because you know when you buy something and you go, oh, maybe there'll be one that's for £50 that's in just as good condition in a colour that I prefer. I saw somebody put one up and then proved that the inside was looking really clean by taking a picture of it, and that included the label. And the beads that I was on about, they're polyester balls. When you feel them, they're teeny tiny polyester balls. And furthermore, you can buy these exact eco-friendly polyester balls online. I haven't measured it. I need to do this calculation. But you can buy what looks like quite a big bag of these polyester balls for 35 quid. So, hypothetically, if that bag of polyester balls for 35 quid is as much as the volume of the polyester balls, and they're the same brand in here, plus postage, so maybe 40 quid. Obviously, if it's only half, you'd have to double it. Then you've got the biggest component of your chiropractic pillow there. The other things are just outer shell. And if you've got cotton and elastane material, this is not a difficult shape to make, right? You just sew them together and then hem in the edges. Tidy up the edges. I mean, you would have to make a beanbag shape for the insides, which again, you would just make a cylinder of and be careful how you seal it. I say it's like a beanbag. It is. These are not normal beanbag beads. They're smaller. But I do wonder whether just having a beanbag is the same thing. And I'm not advocating for you going out and buying a beanbag and saying it's going to be the same thing. These are much, much smaller. But if you've got a beanbag lying around and it's not in a really awkward shape, the benefit of this is that you can squidge it in the way that you do a beanbag because it is a beanbag. If I was to do this again, knowing what I know, I would be very tempted, if I felt like it, to work out the capacity of this, buy those same beads, and then get some cotton and elastane material, enough for the outer layer and the inner layer, because I don't think it massively matters between them. I said about being careful to seal it. A couple of the bad reviews I saw for this pillow was that there was some leakage of the beads, so you would have to be careful on how you sealed it. But I wouldn't buy this. I might even do the innard, buy one of these. So if you could do the inner bit plus this bit, and you could do that for less than 100 quid, probably even less than 70, obviously not including your labour, you would probably spend about the same amount as I did on a second-hand one. And second-hand is not bad by any stretch. It just is quite a personal thing. And if this didn't smell of anybody else, had a really nice cover, I just don't think these are worth it. They're too naff. And I was confident enough in my sewing skills in order to create a beanbag and seal it off. Probably with some, you know, that tapey stuff that you iron down, something like that to properly seal the insides. I would be just as happy, if not happier, to do that. And that is energy permitting. But you see how price is such an important factor. It really, really depends on your personal preference. I wasn't really happy to have secondhand because it is so up close and personal. But I managed to find, luckily, somebody that I felt confident in. There, as far as I'm aware, aren't any stains on this pillow, and I've mushed my body odours and sweat over this enough for it to materially be mine. It still smells a little bit of possibly somebody else, but that could just be the smell of the pillow. But if I had those beads new, I mean, I would probably be happier. In your position, would I get the bbhugme pillow? I think I still would, but that's because I don't know that any others are any better. If you are not completely convinced that this is the one for you, like I get in my head, by all means try other ones out. And to be honest, look at what you think your preferences are. If you can try any others out instead of just reading about them, that'd be fantastic. If you've got a friend who's got them, I mean, if your friend's got them and is letting you try them out, they might not need them anymore. You could just ask whether you can have theirs, obviously reimburse them for it potentially. I don't think I would be happy paying full price for this. I have to tot up the difference between making it yourself. There are drawbacks. Aside from the fact that you could muck it up, it is all on you. You have to be good enough in your skill set to be able to pull it off, not have any leakages, etc. But it's quite a straightforward thing. I just don't think that you couldn't do it. Equally, the reason that you want to support a company is because they've put development in and marketing, and you want to support that as much as possible. You want there to be options in the market. It just feels very expensive. So then I'd maybe go for that middle ground of buy the cover from them. But the innards, I feel like I'm very anti-capitalism here. It just feels too expensive for what it is. I think I'd be like, oh, well, you know, if you can make your own, that's fine. I would still probably be a little bit narked about the R&D that went into it. I always think this, if a company's got something that you can make yourself by just looking at what they've done, and you buy it because it's convenient and a finished article, and you don't have to do any thinking, then if they just give you almost the recipe to do it, and a rough price of the because they'll get bulk discounts in the beads, they'll get bulk discounts on the labour. Speaking of labour, I expect this to have been made in China, but I think it was made in Germany. It was really interesting. It was made somewhere in Europe that I wouldn't have expected it to be, because I would have thought that the labour costs would be high. And then you go, if the labour cost is high, why is it not made in Norway? But then wages in Norway are really high. Yeah, I think I still land on if you can make it. It's just a beanbag. I feel like we're really upsetting the status quo of innovation here. Even though I kind of feel bad saying, oh yeah, don't spend money on something that this company's put a lot of effort into. I don't genuinely believe that a chiropractor spent years and years and years on this. Maybe I'm totally disrespecting them. Maybe I'm being an absolute arse. If that is the case, I'm sorry. I think that you can make this if you are that way inclined. There are other options. I would recommend, as ever, that you maybe try a few out, do a bit of research, and I mean, you probably are. That's why you're watching this video. But just make sure that you're getting something that is right for you. If you have set your heart on this pillow but do not want to pay full price, I would seriously consider looking either on Facebook Marketplace, Vinted, maybe Gumtree, but I don't think you're going to have that much luck on there because it's normally furniture and bigger items and local anyway. Maybe eBay. Looking at secondhand places, asking friends, begging friends, can I have your old one please? Can I at least try it out to know that I can test it? I don't know, pillows aren't something that I feel like you can really test until you've had one. So then I don't like investing too much in a pillow. Does it sound a bit silly? Because there's the whole, your mattress is what you use a third of the time, therefore you need to be spending a certain amount on it, which I don't disagree with, but you can try out mattresses a bit more. It's freaking expensive, RRP. Consider secondhand, but also just consider making it. And if you do make it, let me know, because I would love to see what you end up with. Do not go into it assuming everything's going to go fine. You have to be prepared to do a little bit of extra sealing just in case, because that's a known problem potentially. And I think in the manufactured ones, it's just like the batch, probably. These things happen. Mistakes are made when things are made. For a handmade one with really tiny balls, I reckon that will be your biggest issue. If you do that and use this, I mean, that saves you a bit of time. It's probably more expensive than it needs to be, but it's got a professional look, doesn't it? So you go like, oh yeah, that's my bbhugme pillow. You probably wouldn't sell it on. So if your end goal is to sell it on, maybe don't do that. I'm not a fantastic sewer, but I'm also quite bullheaded. Bullheaded? Is that right? I don't know. I like to make things work. So if they don't, I will keep thinking laterally until it does what I want it to do, as long as I don't run out of interest. So let me know what you end up doing. I'm very interested. I'm still in two minds as to whether this was a good purchase. I don't think it was a bad one, and I'm glad I didn't pay full price, but I also need more options. I like a bit of variety, you know. I really want to lie on my front. That's a good point. What I did do when I got this was I made it into a U shape, put my belly into it, and then got a load of pillows for my chin and forehead, because, you know, I need to breathe, and to lay on my front for a bit, and it was amazing. Apparently, when you go to a massage parlor, a masseuse, they can have tables with holes in, and you just put your belly in it. And it's like, yes, I've not laid on my front for such a long time. My body keeps trying to get onto my front, which is why it's important to lay on your side. But I miss it. I really miss it. I've given up a lot for this baby. I want to sleep on my front. Without further ado, this pillow and I are going to spend some quality time together. Bye!